Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first of maybe many guide videos for Deathgarden. So Deathgarden popping up here, an asymmetrical arena-based kind of hunter versus runners game made by some of the same people who made Dead by Daylight, which is an amazing game, also featured on this channel. But Torment, what am I saying? Deathgarden is well, I'm finding it to be a very fun and interesting game. Now this isn't going to be the basics of Deathgarden's guide. Assuming that if you're watching this, you already know the basics. I'm going to talk about the Torment class and how I think it should be played properly. So certainly there's going to be other trains of thoughts out here, but this is my experience so far. It's been my most played class by a long shot, and I really do enjoy this. This is definitely a class that's very good for you if you enjoy kind of harassing and staying by the hunter. If you're the kind of guy that's maybe a little bit toxic in Dead by Daylight, maybe you just like to kind of be a little bit of pain in the butt. You like juking. You like those sneaky moves, sneaky pants. Then I think Torment might be the class for you. It's a class that specializes in basically annoying the killer, or the hunter, that is to say, and harassing them. So there's three main abilities for the Torment class. One is the Hunter Reveal Bolt, 2 is the Virus Bolt, and 3 is the Blind Bolt. Now we're going to go through each one of these briefly, and then we're going to talk about them a little bit more as we go on. So for the Tier 1 and Tier 2 level of any of your runner abilities, really the only thing that changes is, and this goes for any of the classes, is the area of effect of your shot. So it makes it a wider area of effect. It's easier to hit the killer. The Hunter, dang it. See, I play so much Dead by Daylight. Anyway, yeah, so basically, there's no real difference between Tier 1 and Tier 2. It's the Tier 3 upgrades that give you something. So Tier 1 for Hunter Reveal Bolt is it reveals the Hunter for 20 seconds. Tier 2 is the same thing, but with a 5-meter range or area of effect instead of 2.5. Tier 3, though, is the one that's kind of important here. It reveals the Hunter for 30 seconds, but also makes it the Hunters cannot hack crates. Okay, keep that in mind as we move along here. Virus, Tier 1 slows down the Hunter interaction by 500% for 10 seconds. Tier 2 increases the area of effect. Tier 3 slows the Hunter's interaction by 500%, but also drains 50 stamina points from the Hunter. This is going to be very important in just a second. We're going to go through. I know most of you guys know this. I know. We're moving on. Blind Bolt blinds the Hunter for 2.5 seconds. Tier 2 increases the area of effect. Tier 3 blinds the Hunter for 2.5 seconds, but also increases the spread of the Hunter's weapon to maximum level. That spread is, right? It's basically the possible area of where the shots are going to land while the Hunter is shooting its weapon. So less accuracy, more or less. Why is this important? Why is this important? Because now we're going to talk about a little bit of tactics. We already talked about the main thing about what it is that they do. They harass the Hunter. That's great. That's great, Skim. Now tell me how to play this class correctly, or at least efficiently. Well, that's what I'm going to do. First thing I suggest you getting, if you're playing Torment, is the Virus Bolt. Now why? Why the Virus Bolt? Because of this. Slows Hunter interaction by 500% for 10 seconds. That means it's going to take 5 times longer for him to do anything than it would otherwise take. When is this most useful? At the blood post, when an execution is about to happen. When you hit them with a Virus Bolt, they can't out-execute you. They can't execute you or the person on the blood post before you can save them, before you can rescue them, even if you do not have the perk that makes it so you rescue faster. So it's a really necessary thing to have for a case of an emergency. Let's say that you know, you guys get caught out real early, and he gets a blood post filled before you're able to get yourself your second upgrade part, which shouldn't happen, but if it does, you want to make sure you have the Virus Bolt available. If it's not your first thing you go for, it better be your second thing, because it is mission critical for saving people at the blood post. Alright, so that's the Virus Bolt, and it also happens to be the one that I max first. Now why do I max this one first? Because Tier 3 drains 50 stamina points from the Hunter. What does this mean? Well, the Hunter needs to have stamina in order to stun you off the rescue. So you hit him with the Virus Bolt, which slows down theirs and removes their ability to stun you, and then you do the rescue while they're sitting there wondering why they can't stun you. That's because they don't have any stamina. So that's why I like to go for the Virus Bolt for my first max on the Torment class. So now the second one is a little bit up to preference, if you want the Blind Bolt or if you want the Hunter Reveal Bolt. I take the Hunter Reveal Bolt, and for the particular reason that it's useful, it's helpful, and you only need it ever at Tier 1. Is it nice when you get to Tier 3 and the Hunter can't hack crates? Yeah, it's nice, it's pretty. You can maybe stop them from hacking, let's say, a golden crate with it, sure. But it's particularly helpful in the early game when you need to find out where the hunter is. Is he going for the key guy? You know, where's he at? And generally speaking, the hunter reveal bolt is very useful. And that's why I tend to get it second. Oftentimes, I'll get one level in each one, by the way, before moving on to maxing the virus bolt. The tier 3 virus bolt is very good, but tier 1 virus bolt is still good enough to generally win you the post most times. Alright, let's talk a little bit about blind bolt then. Why am I getting this third most times? Well, blind bolt's really useful in general, but also if you have a little bit of a hard time dodging the hunter, if you can't get away super easily, if you're not the best of the jukers, but you want to play a Torment class, first of all, you may want to get better at juking first. But second of all, the blind bolt is very helpful because a 2.5 second blind is enough for you to sneak around behind them and get someplace where they didn't see you go. And very useful to lose the hunter if you have the blind bolt. Generally speaking, I hit the blind bolt in close proximity when the hunter's on me. Sometimes, if they're a sniper, let's say, I might hit them while I see them going for a snipe. They're standing still, and so they're a nice, easy target. And when they're blinded, it's kind of hard for them to snipe, isn't it? So that's why I like to do those kinds of moves with the blind bolt. Now, tier 3 blind bolt, is it more valuable than the refusing the hunter the ability to hack crates? Depends on the hunter, really, but yeah, I think so. Tier 3 increases the spread of the hunter weapon to maximum, which means that you blind them, and for the period of time that they're blinded, they have no chance of hitting anything at all. And they're already blinded, though. The blind itself is pretty powerful. It's pretty much a shoo-in between whether or not you want to max the blind bolt to tier 3 or the reveal first to tier 3, but definitely virus is first. I don't know if that's an arguable point. I'm sure you can argue it, but you'd be wrong. So, blind bolt, very useful. I tend to get that number 3 on my list, and then I max virus, and then I decide whether or not I'm maxing, or even if I can get to max before we win, the reveal or the blind bolt next. So, that goes about with how it is I like to max out the Torment class. Now, let's talk quickly about perks. And this is where it varies a little bit. There's a couple good perks out there. The one that I think most people want, the strongest perk right now, is probably the increased rescue speed. Why is this the case? Because it means, yeah, you can pick people off the ground faster, but it really means that you can get people off the blood post faster. In fact, if you both start the hunter and the rescuer at the same time, the runner at the same time, with their execute and rescue, you know, as per each, you will actually out-rescue the execute if you were to both start at the same time. That's very powerful. That's very useful. A lot of times hunters don't expect that, and they think, oh, I'm going to get this before you get the rescue. Nope. Even if they start before you, especially if they have the virus on them, they have no chance of getting the execute before you get the rescue. And that's why I like to run that perk in particular here. Now, there's a couple of the perks that are really helpful, but the two other ones that I really enjoy is this one here, where you pop back up with full health. I enjoy it. I enjoy not having to go and hunt out for a health station after being revived. I like to just be able to get up and keep going immediately. And so I like that one, but the one I actually enjoy the most, the one I enjoy more, my normal two, is this puppy right over here. Alright, and this one gives you increased stamina regeneration. Now why is that important? Well, because stamina is how you dodge with your dodge roll. And the dodge roll is very important. It's especially important if you're planning on spending most of your time near the hunter, which as the Torment, that's your job. Yeah. And so that's why it is that I take this particular perk with me as well, most times. Let's get into this final kind of aspect here that I want to talk about today, right? And the final thing I want to talk about today is I want to talk about your playstyle. How is it that you should play the Torment class? Well, the first thing should be pretty obvious. Your job is to be close to the hunter. Almost all times. I tend to find that my biggest challenge with the Torment class is leaving the hunter long enough to get upgrades, because I want to stick on him. I want to help my buddies. I want to protect my buddies with the blind. I want to keep the hunter revealed, and I want to be able to slow him down so he can't get crates as easily, and he certainly can't get any executes. So generally speaking, I spend most of my time by the hunter. I pop away here or there just to grab a nearby upgrade, and then I get back on him. And that's how I suggest playing the Torment class. It's how it seems like it's designed to be played. But let's say that you have no NPI, because that's another challenge with having the Torment class, is that you get NPI for staying close to the killer, or to the hunter. You get NPI for escaping the hunter, but it's not always necessarily enough. Okay. So how do you deal with that? Well, there's no secret that if you do shoot the hunter with your arrow, your plain arrow, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't do any damage to him, it doesn't slow him down, it doesn't blind him or anything, but it does give you 50 NPI. That's not much, but if every now and then you pick up another 10 bolts, you know, and then you ping a couple into the hunter, here or there, it'll be enough to keep you above your 0 amount of abilities able to be used. And you don't want to be caught going to the blood post without a virus available, because you need to slow down their ability to do the execute. So let's review a little bit here. We talked about the hunter reveal. We talked about the virus. We talked about the blind bolt. I said virus I suggest first, and I suggest maxing it first. I get one of each though, generally speaking. And I talked a little bit about how the blind bolt was useful. And you max blind or hunter reveal based upon what you think the hunter's skill set is, if you even get to that portion of the game. I talked a little bit about how it is the playstyle, or the perks that we should be using, and hopefully, you know, there's other good perks out there though that are worth talking about as well. Not dying as fast. It's a good perk. It's a good perk. Not bleeding out on the ground is great, but if you're playing with a team that's competent, which if you're playing with your friends is almost always the case, and if with randoms you hope it's the case, it's really not that useful of a perk. And so the 2 perks I showed you are the ones that I would probably generally use. And finally, we talked about a little bit of the playstyle. Stay close to the hunter, guys. That is your job. Ping the hunter with your plain arrows when you need a little bit of NPI. Or as you're running, just kind of throw an arrow out here or there, whatever else you can, just to get some NPI stored up for you. And then make sure that you're always constantly harassing. You know, if he focuses on you, that's a good thing. That means your control can be picking up keys, they could be capturing objectives, etc., etc. Keep them lit up the best you can, because if your team knows where the hunter is, they've got a better chance of avoiding him or making other great plays based upon their knowledge of where he is, where he's coming from, etc. So definitely a very useful class, and in my opinion, the best class if you're a little bit toxic, a little bit of a bully, but also you like the excitement of being in the chase, you like the excitement of juking, of dodging. That is the class for you, my friends, the Torment class. Here's a quick little guide for you. If you enjoyed the guide, if you thought it was helpful, then do let me know in the comment section. If you thought that I missed a lot, let me know in the comment section too if you've got a good point. I'll be happy to move it up in the list of the comments so that other people can learn as well. We're still all learning this game, and I'm sure there'll be other things that we see, notice, and change as time goes on. But loving this game, hopefully you guys are too. There's a little bit of something on the Torment class, my favorite class, my most played class. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.
Yes.